I'm going to share with you some specific strategies for what you could do to have more effective communication at work. This is Efficiency in Organization, the channel where we talk about everything and anything that has to do with being effective, organized, productive, and that way you can have a lot more success in everything you do, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, in your academic endeavors, whatever it may be. Okay, so how do we effectively communicate better at work? Here are a couple of strategies. Number one, email is like the most prevalent way of communicating nowadays, so you have to be on top of your emails. Make sure that you are reading them. Make sure you are decluttering your inbox. You should not have like thousands of unread emails. If you do, my best suggestion is to clean everything up and start over again. Basically, like delete everything if you have to and start fresh, start new. Unwanted emails you want to delete, and what you also want to do is unsubscribe from emails that you don't need. When it comes to email communication, one of the best things you want to do is keep the communications short and succinct. So make sure that you're responding with preferably 5 or less sentences. Put bullets if you can, that way you're getting straight to the point. Start the communication with some kind of a salutation and end with a salutation. So sometimes I receive emails from coworkers and they have something to tell me, and at the very end they don't say thank you, they don't say I don't know, some kind of a I appreciate it, and it just gets on my nerves. It's like, I don't have to help you. You're asking me to help you in an email, and then you're not even like thanking me in advance for it or putting some kind of an end remark. So you may not think it's a big deal to you, but remember, when you're communicating with others, it's what they perceive. So make sure you have some kind of a nice way to greet them in the beginning and a nice way to end the email at the end. When communicating, be mindful of your tone and be mindful of your body language, because a lot of times people can perceive ways that you're behaving and like they could take things personally, even though it has nothing to do with them. Let's say you're upset about something. Let's say you're upset because you're having issues at home or issues with your kids or financial problems. Believe it or not, those stresses have an effect on you, have an effect on your mood and your demeanor. You're just not as happy as you could be. And when you go and project that onto others, they take it personally. So the best thing to do is to make sure that you're aware of your mood every morning and throughout the day, and just force yourself to kind of have like a little smile on your face, because that'll remind you to just be extra nicer to people, especially when you're not in the best mood. With communication, when it comes to other people, even if you don't care about people, you still need to show genuine interest if you happen to work in an environment where there are people. Now, if you work at home, it's probably different because you're probably just, interacting more with the computer. You're not interacting with people day to day. But if you have the kind of work where I have, where I'm dealing with at least 1,000 people a day I come across, then you know what? You have to make a genuine effort to get to know people, and you have to force yourself to like people. It's just more effective communication when you do that, and people would be more willing and apt to help you if you need help. My best advice would be to stay away from cliques and gossip. Here's what I mean by cliques. When you have like one person that you gravitate to or a group that you gravitate to. Let's say you work in an organization where there's 20 people, but the 3-4 of you are always together, always talking, always interacting. Then what happens is everyone else feels like they're not a part of the group. They're not a part of the main organization. They feel like outsiders. So especially if you're in a leadership position, be very, very mindful of that. See who you hang out with, who you interact with mostly at work, and what you guys talk about, because eventually gossip might come out. And then also when you're whispering things to each other, it's obvious that you have some kind of a secret. Be mindful of that when you're whispering and when you're going like this and talking like this, because again, whether that's what you want to project and let people know, communication, 80%, 90% is nonverbal, and they will perceive it negatively, and it'll harm the climate and culture of the workplace. If at all possible, do some kind of a communication style activity. And there are plenty. If you go online and look up, say, communication styles, identifying communication styles at work, There are like these free quizzes that people can take, and it'll tell you what form of communication people like. For instance, with me, even though I like the niceties in the emails that I receive asking me for help, I do prefer direct. Like, give me very specific direct instructions that I could follow. Other people may not. My form of communication is like, give me instructions that are clear, succinct, and I'll follow them like a checklist. Where other people would rather, instead of that one list, would rather have like a 30-minute meeting because they're more face to face. So you have to know what people's communication styles are and kind of negotiate, compromise, see if you can meet halfway. When it comes to workflow and projects that you guys are working on, communicate often, especially with your supervisors, on how things are going. Because if you don't, you're kind of leaving them in the dark and they don't know where you're at with things. So make sure you let them know, even if it's like a quick text or a quick email, or just say, I'm working on it, everything's under control. So that way they know that everything's being taken care of and that you're on top of it. And lastly, it's okay to show vulnerability sometimes and to talk with people about your personal likes, about some things that may be happening at work, some plans that you have coming up. Maybe you could talk about your pets. Maybe you could talk about like remodeling things that you're working on. Maybe you could talk about you wanting to purchase a new car and what kind of cars you're looking for, because you want to show people a little bit of yourself. There are people that you've probably come across in your line of work where they always like to find out things about you, but they never share about themselves. And that's not good. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to put some of what you go through out there, because that's what's going to make you seem more human, and it's going to allow people to communicate with you more effectively. I hope that you found the video helpful and useful. I will have links to articles and other videos in the description. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.